Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm so happy and it's really, it's an honor to be here with you guys. And I'm very thankful for the USBBY chapter for all the support you've been giving us for all the years. And every year I meet more and more USBBY people, and I really think you're an amazing group of people. Evelyn, Alice, my favorite, our new president, Sylvie, and Junko, and Therese, she's not here, maybe, I think, yeah. So, and of course, Tucker, thank you for everything. I've been the president of the Lebanese chapter for like 5 years now, and we have a lot of conflicts and activities to do, and the support you give us really helps us to keep on doing things again and again. Because it shows that we are still there as a chapter, and there's like a continuity that we can work on. I've prepared a presentation to show you about our latest project that we've done after the 4th of August explosion. I don't know how common it is. Anybody knows the 4th of August explosion? So our activities in 2022, I'll start directly. So 4th of August, it was 6 in the afternoon. We've heard a big sound, and our houses shook, and our glasses fell on our heads, and everybody in the city was very scared and injured and traumatized, and we didn't know what happened, but it turned out that our port has exploded. After that, actually, before that, Lebanon was facing a lot of crises, including financial crisis, and our dollar, our economy was very bad, and our Lebanese, our currency lost a lot of its value. So everything has a lot of effects on our children, because what happened is that with all of this and the COVID, children were absent from schools. Some children were completely removed from schools because their parents couldn't afford to take them to schools again. There was child labor because they needed more people to work, so parents sent their children to work. A lot of people had to move houses because once there's an explosion, almost half the city has been broken. So a lot of people had to move houses, and there were high tensions at home because, you know, when things are unsettled, parents tend to fight, and this affects children. And there was a scarcity, and there is still a scarcity of basic needs, including electricity and Wi-Fi and water. And according to the UNICEF, around 1.8 million children are living multidimensional poverty as of October 2021. So explosion of the 4th of August affected more than 33% of our families, and and a lot of huge number of children have been affected by the explosion. So what do? We had to step in. We had to go and see what's happening. So all this explosion and what happened also affected our schools. Public schools in Lebanon, because of the crisis, the government couldn't support, so they had a lot of problems. We had fuel shortage. They closed for strikes for long periods of time. There weren't any staff, so they had shortage of staff, and a lot of them are very old, and a lot of them were affected by the explosion. So more than 120 schools have been affected. I'm showing you some picture of some destruction of schools. I don't know if you see the one in the middle. This is our model school, and when the explosion happened, we went there and we saw it, and there was glass everywhere, and everything was broken, windows, doors, you name it. Some schools were completely destroyed. Other were medium, not as bad as the ones that were really on the ground. No more schools at all. So we had to step in. So what did we do? As you know, IBBY is a family. We support each other. We know what's happening. So I called for a crisis fund to the IBBY chapters around the world. So a crisis fund is a fund that is supported by IBBY. If there's a crisis in a country, then you call for it, and then IBBY chapters around the world would support you. So we got support to fix our libraries. Why our libraries? Because, reading and books have really importance to our children for their academic and their personal value. And we had to train the librarians or the teachers on how to use the libraries. And we did the bibliotherapy training, and now we're doing bibliotherapy manuals, which we are happy to share with you if you wish to. We will provide it for everybody. So what did we do? The crisis happened. Everything was in a complete disaster. Glasses everywhere. People are injured. Schools are in a bad situation. So crisis fund, when we went on the ground to see what's happening. And then we seek partnership, and we partnered with UNESCO. And now they are helping us to build more libraries. So yay, we were able to get funding also from UNESCO for the second time now, and with other associations and interior designers from Lebanon. And thanks to IBBY Canada and IBBY chapters in France, they also send us books from around the world. So what do? We go to a school, we see what they want, and we help them. And as you know, when there's an explosion or there's something big, the amount of destruction differs on where the school is and what happens to it. So some of them had some glasses broken and some doors, while others had bigger problems and with the shelves falling apart. And so what we do, what I teach my students in working with communities, is seeing what your community or what your partner needs and giving them. So we went to every school and we saw what are their needs, and based on their needs, we gave them. And in a lot of the schools, the library was already in a very bad situation. So we had to really fix it and refurbish it to look like that nice place where children want to go. How many schools we have done? Completely renovated 11. We also we partnered with Book Aid, who are sending us books. So our books reached 20 schools, and now we are fixing 9 extra schools with books. So these are some of the before and after, and I love the before and after pictures because it really shows how you can do things on the ground. Look at the left side. This is our model library. They didn't have the books they had. They were like 13 years old and older books. So they had very old books if they had them. If you look at the shelves, they were the shelves that they borrowed from the laboratory in the school. So they didn't have shelves. They just used any chairs. And, they try to use anything they have just to fix their library. And on the right side is the new library. It's all fixed. It looks like a totally different place with all colors and all full and books and tables you can move around, so children can either stay in a big group or in smaller groups. And this is another school that we've done, and it's in Ashrafieh. And we always try to be balanced in the way we fix schools. So we choose different areas in Beirut to fix the schools. And also I send my students to also put the books on the shelf, because even if you send them the books, it's very hard for them sometimes to put the books on the shelf because they really don't have staff to do that. So this is another school, Ashrafieh. And if you notice, not all the libraries are copy-paste, because usually in Lebanon, every school has different kind of door color and, a theme. So we try to match the library to the colors of the school. So phase 2, what did we do? We trained the teachers and the librarians on how to classify, on how to promote the library. UNESCO were very, strict about, they had to document everything because it's all about documentation. So we documented everything in the library. And this is some pictures of our training program that we did. And then we did the bibliotherapy. So what is bibliotherapy? Bibliotherapy is using the books to try to help the children get over the trauma. So it's actually, bibliotherapy is for children and adults, but what we did is bibliotherapy for children. So we did a workshop with the help of the Yamada Fund for more than 500 people on how to use books in order to help children get over the trauma, because trauma is everywhere. Children are affected in almost all Lebanon from everything that's happening. So using books in the right way to help them get over the trauma is very important. So what did we do in our sessions? We introduced bibliotherapy. Um, we applied it in storytelling session. We talked about the role of illustrations and techniques that can be used alongside bibliotherapy, like the activities you can do after you finish reading the books, and methods used in bibliotherapy and using stories as a conflict management approach. And again, I'm very happy to send you all the research that has been done, and we can offer it for everybody. And so these are mainly the topics that we have covered in our bibliotherapy sessions. And again, I will do that. And usually everybody who attends would love to have certificate about certificate of attendance, which we were happy to offer, and to offer the book for them. So this is what we've done. And I have to tell you that also we've done also now recently, we'll add the pictures. We fixed also a library in a refugee camp for refugee children called Jusur, and I'm happy to share the pictures with you later when we're done putting the books. So Evelyn, questions?
There was a question about wanting to know more about bibliotherapy. If you could talk maybe a little bit more about that and how that worked.
Okay, usually I teach a course called Family and Child Welfare. So it's how to help children get over whatever trauma they have. And there are different methods that you can use with children. And everything you do is trying to communicate with children, because children's main language is play. Children are not, we have a big vocabulary. I can express how I'm feeling, but for children, it's harder. And they usually do it through play. And one of the techniques you can use is bibliotherapy, because when you read a book for a child, the child can understand the problem. He feels that he's not the only one who has gone through the situation. So somebody else in the world is going through this. So the feeling of being part of a group or not being alone in something is very helpful. It helps him understand his what's happening with him. The way that you deal with the problem in the book is very helpful. So this is mainly what you do with bibliotherapy, just to feel that you're not alone. Somebody else is going through this, and you understand more your feelings and what you're going through.
How many teachers or librarians participated in the training?
We've got around, I think, 8 or 10 librarians, because then there were strikes. There are strikes in public schools all the time now, because their salaries are not, they can't even cover their transportation. So they're having a lot of strikes. So it's a problem, and children are missing a lot of days of school. Last year, children went to school around 2 months in a year. So it is really bad. And once they're home, you expect them to study online. Like in other developed countries, there's a privilege of studying online. But here, if there's a family of 5 and there's only have one phone, and then they will choose which child is going to study online if it's a choice. So a lot of people took their children out of schools, and the problem is that this is not getting better. The situation in Lebanon is getting hard, and it's getting bad by the day. It's the fact that the Lebanese are facing an economic crisis. And today we were in a Palestinian camp, and the situation is very bad in the Palestinian camp. And now it's a very small area, and it's thousands of people, 55,000 people living in a small area. I've shown Evelyn some pictures, and now the Syrians are sharing this area. And the refugees in Lebanon, they don't have the rights like everybody else. They can't work. They can't have the medical. Even the Lebanese now, if you have even a medical, we call it the security, the medical security, it doesn't give you as much as you could, because It's the hospitals are not accepting it. So the situation is getting bad, and it's affecting children every day. And I was very happy today when I took my students to a refugee camp, that there was a library, and they said that we have to stop children from coming. We can't have everybody, because it's that kind of nice place, in a place where everything is really bad mess. So we hope that the more they have access to good books, it would be that kind of place where they can read, they can travel, they can dream, they can feel better, they can imagine. I don't know. It's not easy being here, honestly, but we don't have a choice. You have to live again and try to find your solution out of it, and you try to help as much as you can. And this is where they really appreciate all the support that we can get from all the chapters around the world, because we really need it. We're talking about a population that's not only Lebanese, but everybody that's in need, and they are in really, really need.
There is another question. What authors and illustrators from Lebanon have books available in English so that we can share with children here in the US and in the world?
Usually what happens, because English as a language is a dominant language, most of the translations to the world is from English to the world. It's very hard to translate things from the world to the English language. So it is hard, but if you want to share some of our books, I can get approval from our author. We can translate some of our books, and you can show them, you can share them with their members as PDF. We would love to do that. Actually, I have a box of books signed by our authors to your chapter, but I want to see if somebody is going from Lebanon to the USA so I can send it to you. Maybe I'll tell you briefly. So what I try to do, what we try to do now, we try to make the best out of whatever we have, whatever links we have, because the more we can get support and we do project, I think the better it is. So we started now since 2020 with our public school libraries, and now we're trying to also help NGOs. We're pushing our authors to the Hans Christian Andersen, which was the first time in 2 years, and now we have also 2 other lists. And we're trying to really build our good relationship with our network and chapter, because again, as Sylvia knows and everybody, IBBY is a beautiful family around the world, a beautiful family that will support each other if anybody needs anything. And this is a really privilege. If you need information, if you need help, then everybody can step in from around the world. And this is really beautiful.